Just want to watch a video. Now the sound, you're going to be able to hear it maybe a little low, but just really listen.
It is not death most people are afraid of. It is getting to the end of life only to realize that you never truly lived. There was a study done, a hospital study, on 100 elderly people facing death close to their last breath. They were asked to reflect about their life's biggest regret. Nearly all of them said they regretted not the things they did, but the things they didn't do, the risks they never took, the dreams they didn't pursue. I ask you, would your last words be, if only I had, hey, you, wake up. Why do you exist? Life is not meant to simply work, wait for the weekend, and pay rent. No, I don't know much, but I know this. Every person on this earth has a gift. And I apologize to the black community, but I can no longer pretend. Martin Luther King, that man never had a dream. That dream had him. See, people don't choose dreams. Dreams choose them. So the question I'm getting to is, do you have the courage to grab the dream that picked you, that befits you and grips you? Or will you let it get away and slip through? You know, I learned a fact about airplanes the other day. Now this was so surprising. See, I was talking to a pilot and he told me that many of his passengers think planes are dangerous to fly in. But he said, actually, it is a lot more dangerous for a plane to stay on the ground. I said, what? Like, how does that sound? Well, he said because on the ground, the plane starts to rust, malfunction, and wear much faster than it ever would if it was in the air. As I walked away, I thought, yeah, makes total sense. Because planes were built to live in the skies. And every person was built to live out the dream they have inside. So it is perhaps the saddest loss to live a life on the ground without ever taking off. See, most of us are afraid of the thief that comes in the night to steal all of our things. But there's a thief in your mind who is after your dreams. His name is doubt. If you see him, call the cops and keep him away from the kids, because he is wanted for murder, for he has killed more dreams than failure ever did. He wears many disguises, and like a virus will leave you blinded, divided, and turn you into a kinda. See, kinda is lethal. You know what kinda is. It's a lot of kinda people. You kinda want a career change. You kinda want to get straight A's. You kinda want to get in shape. Simple math, no numbers to crunch. If you kinda want something, then you will kinda get the results you want. What is your dream? What ignites that spark? You can't kinda want that. You gotta want it with every part of your whole heart. Will you struggle? Yeah, you will struggle. No way around it. You will fall many times, but who's counting? Just remember, there's no such thing as a smooth mountain. If you want to make it to the top, then there are sharp ridges that must be stepped over. There will be times you get stressed and things you get depressed over, but let me tell you something. Steven Spielberg was rejected from film school 3 times. 3 times when he kept going. The television execs fired Oprah, said she wasn't fit for TV, but she kept going. Critics told Beyonce that she couldn't sing, she went through depression, but she kept going. Struggle and criticisms are prerequisites for greatness. That is the law of this universe and no one escapes it. Because pain is life, but you can choose what type. Either the pain on the road to success, or the pain of being haunted with regret. You want my advice? Don't think twice. We have been given a gift that we call life, so don't blow it. You were not defined by your past. Instead, you were born in each moment. So own it now. Sometimes you gotta leap and grow your wings on the way down. You better get this shot off before the clock runs out, because ain't no overtime in life, no do-over. And I know I sound like I'm preaching or speaking with force, but if you don't use your gift, then you sell not only yourself, but the whole world short. So what invention do you have burning in your mind? What idea, what cure, what skill did you have inside to bring out to this unique verse? Unique meaning one, verse meaning song. You have a part to play in this song. So grab that microphone and be brave. Sing your heart out on life stage. You cannot go back and make a brand new beginning. But you can start now and make a brand new ending.
So, I want to give you a second to just kind of think about that. One of my favorite lines from that is when sometimes you have to leap and grow your wings on the way down. That's kind of how I live my life on a very regular basis. Sometimes it drives my wife insane, but it is true. So my question to everybody here tonight is really simple. It's why are you here? Why are you here on a Tuesday night? It was nice out today, but it's cold out now. So why are you here? So here's my little teacher activity. I believe in getting people up. I believe in people moving. I believe in people talking. So I'm going to ask you in about 60 seconds to get up. I'm going to ask you to walk around the room and find somebody that you do not know. For some of us, that's going to be difficult. Try and find a person you have the least in that situation. And I want you to bring your index card and your pen with you, because when you go meet with this other person, you are going to spend 60 seconds sharing why you are here. And then they are going to share in 60 seconds why they are here. And then I'm going to challenge you guys to take both of your whys and combine that into one 2-sentence statement that we're going to come back and share as a group. Questions? Let's see if my teaching explanation really worked. So, give you about 30 seconds. Find somebody in the room you do not know. Don't be shy. We're all friends here. Everybody grab your card.
Do you have a person? All right. I know him. Oh, I know him.
So y'all know each other? Alright, so I know some of us are already talking, so I'm just going to real quick start a timer for 60 seconds. One person at 60 seconds is entirely yours, and then we'll switch to the other person after the 60 seconds are off. You know what? We were talking.
I'm an educator.
When I was there?
switch to the speaker. The next person speaks for 60 seconds. You may already be done, but.
Like they were dealt a terrible hand, and like the people that they're raising are dealt even terrible hand because they're being raised into like immigrants and stuff, and they have no idea that it's on their way.
Well, basically the same thing. Hold on. In hopes that Millville will become more open-minded.
And now 60 seconds to summarize. 2 seconds or less, or most.
United. So I guess I would say that what we're going to say is that I'm going to say that we both
All right, so I'm going to ask everybody to stay where they are with the person that they spoke with. Because now I want to call on some people to share what you were able to do. And we're going to do this real quick. So 2 sentences or less.
Our 2 things were that we were worried about the kids and care about their future, and that we want to pay back the investment and all that.
You guys are louder than that.
Oh, that's crazy. I'm here to fight for a chance to save our youth and get them an outlet to express themselves in a safe environment. Also, what's that?
I'd like to give kids like Reese a better place to draw resources from instead of falling victim to our corruption in our city.
I just came from some.
So losing someone dear to you opens your eyes a lot more and makes you realize what is really going wrong in your community, and we really need a change.
We're both social work students, and we're passionate about helping children.
Thank you.
To support your organization of Our Future First and the mission to help the community through Reese's House.
Okay, these here are both here to support Our Future First and to support in hopes that Millville will become more open-minded and united as a community.
I'm here to help spread awareness in the community about the senseless acts of violence happening with the youth, so they have a safe place to go to occupy their time.
We decided that we just want to grow old.
in our community and support Reese's House to help our youth grow on the right path, and we want to stay within the
Jennifer and I are here at the invitation of Sean and want to learn more about the vision of Reese's House. We want to know how we can impact kids to have a positive, healthy future in Millville.
We felt that it's something that's needed, and there's a lot of people who are interested in doing the same thing that might not know how to connect or not be connected yet. It's a good opportunity to bring everybody together.
I spoke to Tatiana, who was Reese's girlfriend, and she's here to bring about positive change.
We're here to gain information, to see what part that we can play in making positive things happen in Millville, and to see where there could be a collaboration with the programs that are already existing.
Absolutely. Okay. There's a lot of really good thoughts. Now, those are your whys. There's one why I think we have to get in order to be able to understand a little bit more. Thought you're going to read that?
Yeah.
So, Reese's mother, Marisol, is here, but she has pneumonia and no voice. So Tatiana is going to read her why.
So as I said, Marisol, Reese's mom, has pneumonia, so she's unable to speak tonight, but she wrote something that I'm going to read for her that is from her. So, 7 months ago, this town was rocked with a tragic murder, the death of Reese. As a parent, to this day, it's so hard to wrap my head around the fact that my son was murdered. Why my son? I ask why my son, because if we can be honest for a moment, some of you parents are sitting here right now with a child in a gang, or know a neighbor whose child is in a gang. Let's take a moment to just hypothetically say Reese was in a gang. I don't think so. Me too, I don't. But I would think to myself, why couldn't I as a parent help in some way so that my son wouldn't want to be in a gang? With all that being said, no child in or out of a gang deserves to die to the hands of these streets. We as leaders, parents, teachers, pastors, counselors, family, and friends, we need to at least try to make a difference in our city. Our city needs something, and it begins with us coming together tonight and many more nights to come to figure out as a community how to make this town a safer and more enjoyable city for our children to live in. We raise our children here, and by the time they're 18, it's more like you're 18 now, get out of this town and have a better life. Well, what if I told you that after spending 18 years here, after you graduate, you can begin your adult life here in Millville, the town you grew up in, the town that you met some of the most amazing people in. This town can be exactly what you want it to be. We must stand together and fight for our future. If you knew Reese, you knew he loved this town. City Park where he played basketball, Union Lake where they have fireworks, open gym at the high school. He loved his town and the people in it. In honor of his love to this town, we together would like to make Reese's House a place for your children to live and love like Reese.
So those are some whys. My why is really simple. I taught Reese in 8th grade. And after Reese passed, I did a Facebook Live video that went viral very quickly in the community, talking about we need to do more, and I'm tired of seeing our kids die. And instantly, that reignited the connection that I had with Marisol from when I taught Reese in 8th grade. And that gave me the opportunity to speak at his services. And when I spoke, I talked about taking the collective power that was in that room and making something much bigger. Doing something that was going to allow us to really honor the memory of Reese and the person that he is. So after a lot of talking and conversations, we started thinking about, let's do this youth center. And then it kind of evolved from there. Now, what's supposed to happen? What in the world? So, created a nonprofit called Our Future First. It's a Millville-based 501c3, tax exempt. It was important that we had something to be able to establish our youth center, Reese's House, under. So what we do, we want to build our schools, we want to build our communities, we want to build our future. And the idea of our future first revolves around doing everything in our power to put our future, which is our kids, first in every single decision that we make. Are we doing this? Is it going to be the best interest of kids in the present, a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, 10 years from now? What are we doing to build our kids and give them opportunities? And this was born from that. So what is this idea of Reese's House? Well, we started having this conversation. I went to Marisol and I said, can you imagine? Kid goes home. Hey, Mom, I'm going to Reese's House. And that was something that was so frequent in her house. So the idea of Reese's House is for him, is to honor him, who he is was as a person. Because we know there's this gap of what happens when kids leave school and when kids come home. And it's not about giving kids something to do. It's about allowing kids to really make a direction for themselves. It's not just we're going to go play sports here, have a singular event here and there. It's just going to be happening all the time for us. The thing that I'm really proud of, and I really want to stress, is that this is something that is for the community, but that needs to be built by our community, run by our community, and for our community. There's a reason why every day regular people like us are here right now, that people believe in kind of that same thing. So in your index card, real quick, just want you to spend 30 seconds and very quickly write down what you think a successful youth center may need. Because these are suggestions, and we will be collecting these cards. So as you finish up writing, some people just kind of shout out what you think a successful youth center may need.
Upscaling resources. So like kids that are in high school, like teaching them different stuff like UX design or like partnering with stuff like Udemy and stuff where they can take courses or get like mentoring and tutoring where they can learn skills that can make an income for them, that they can even pay for school with if they want to pay, can't get enough scholarships or financial aid and stuff.
Absolutely.
And they can use those for future jobs.
You like some of the stuff to talk about?
Huh?
So you like some of the stuff we're going to talk about?
Okay.
What else? That's it?
Not just like top-down planning, but
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think I know some. There are people who are skilled in being able to figure out what people may be interested by certain tests that they give people. There are a lot of people from ages 18 to 50 who don't know what they really want to do. Somebody who's around available to help point people in the right direction.
Absolutely.
We need equipped and competent staff that will take care of our children 24/7.
Recreational activities space.
Like what?
Like something like, you know how they have the open gym in high school? We have something like that. They can work ways to come.
Okay, I'm ready.
Opportunities for nurturing, definitely counseling, activity
from the little ones to the older ones. Something I thought was like a showroom where they just come take it down, because sometimes the day is enough to like get someone relax. Enrichment and opportunities to do things that they would normally be able to do, like visit colleges or go to a museum or go to another state and see something that they've never seen before.
Like your head is. I'm a teacher. I can tell.
I think it would be cool to offer kids like a chance to do like art therapy so they can express how they're feeling. Because a lot of kids nowadays can't really express how they're feeling because they've got bottled up emotions that just kind of like come out in different ways. And if you can give it those emotions some sort of direction, it's helpful for kids to go through emotion instead of trying to go around it. And then also offer that to parents, because parents are tired and they're overwhelmed and they need a space to just chill out, so that they can go on and be like the parent that their kid needs, but they kind of need space for themselves. Because I think we stop seeing parents as people, it's either just the parent, they need that sort of support as well.
So,
yeah, I think we should offer people like different workshops, like the youth, maybe not all the youth want to do sports. They can do like dance studios, like she said. You can have music studios in there. On Tuesdays, you can bring like a cook, maybe from the high school. I know Mr. McCarthy, he won't mind coming in doing a little culinary arts class on Tuesdays or Wednesdays or something like that. It's a mentoring program. It's have a lot of kids that's up there, older kids that younger kids would really look up to. Have them in there talking to the youth. A lot of different things.
Before I leave one. And the other thing is my children who are getting in trouble in school, been suspended, out of school, don't get any opportunity to be alone at home and be a place where they can come rather than being staying at home, having homework, continuing education in a safe environment instead of being left at home. We need that.
All right, let's get the space bar, please. So, the suggestions are on point. And they're on point with a lot of what I've talked with so many people in this room about already. So when we think about what we want to focus on, we want to focus this center on growth. We want to focus on physical, academic, emotional, social, mental growth. We want to focus on innovation, entrepreneurship, things that actually matter. Because you can sit there and say all you want that, we got to have a spot for kids for the physical activity. We absolutely do. So we want to help them with their homework. We absolutely want to do that. But that's just 2 parts of the kid. And we know there's so much more that we have to look into. So we talk about some of the physical growth that we really want to see. And we want to have the recreation, we want to have the sports, we want to talk about a little fitness center for kids to be able to come make sure they're doing what they need to be doing. We also want to teach healthy lifestyle stuff that's actually relevant to them. It is incredibly difficult in this area to eat healthy when you are living on any sort of a budget. We can help with that. We can partner with the parents. We can do so many things to really push that forward. And this last thing, the fact-based counseling on real-life issues, so it's a little vague, but if you've ever been in a high school recently, and kids can tell you, I'm a high school ride work, there's no such thing as sex ed, there's no such thing as competition on that, there's no real conversation on drugs or alcohol that's actually real and fact-based. So these are the conversations we need to be having with our kids to make sure they are armed and equipped to deal with these issues, not if, but when they actually show up in their life, because you know it's going to happen. So this is the physical part that we need to focus on. We also want to focus on the academic part. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? And when we talked, somebody mentioned earlier, it was you, Jerome, talking about having Mr. McCarthy come on. I think Coach McCarthy, because that's his mom. And that's who was there when I was there. But having these things where we can identify our kids' strengths. What are they passionate about? Is it culinary arts? Let's set up an actual kitchen and teach them how to do these things. Let's give them transferable skills to work on strengths. If they're struggling with math or biology or physics or chem, whatever it may be, let's get some of these teachers in our neighborhood who I know very personally, who I know would come out and help support with that. Content from school with real life issues. That's the gap, right? That's the gap. We've got to be able to bridge that between school and home. And I don't know about you, and I think some of our younger people here today can probably tell you, when you're going to school, you may not necessarily have the most confidence in your own abilities. And we really need to work to build that up in our kids so they can have that academic strength to be, whether they decide to go to college or whether they decide to pursue some sort of a skill, whatever it may be, we can help with that. Anybody here ever hear of ACEs? So ACEs stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. A lot of different categories, 9, 10, depending on the scale you look at. What they identify is that if you are subjected to things like emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, addiction in your household, incarceration of parents, death of parents, these major, major traumatic life events, that if you were subjected to these at a very young age, the chance of being a productive member of society decreases significantly. It's why we talk about how poverty and crime and all these issues are generational and cyclical. I look at 2/4 of my family. They went one way, other people went another way. Because of their ACEs, what they experienced growing up. And we have to recognize that in our area there is such a high level of trauma. How many little babies were out at a football practice this summer and watch somebody get murdered? That's trauma. And I can't speak for what's going on in schools, but I can speak from somebody who is trauma-informed, and this is part of my career as an educator, that we need to focus a lot more on this. And we can do this in this kind of environment. We can bring people. We can bring social workers on board to have these conversations with people. We want to teach our kids to express themselves, not suppress themselves. All the time we tell our kids to fit in this box. It's not okay to cry. It's not okay to do this. It's not okay to do that. And as they suppress that even deeper and deeper and deeper, they're going to explode. And when that finally happens, we have not taken care of the emotional growth of our kids. So a therapeutic environment, we know that if we have kids, we know there are going to be issues. We know we're going to have little problems and disagreement and things like that. That's why we handle it in a therapeutic way, with real conversations and real growth. So some social growth. We know what middle school was like. We know what high school was like. See kids nodding their heads and agreement. We need to teach real, genuine, healthy conflict resolution with our kids. We have to do that. We don't just solve everything with our fists or with this or that. We have to teach people how to talk to each other, how to tell people how they feel. It goes back to the mental aspect of that too. In order to do that, we've got to create this loving and supportive environment. It's going to show kids how we interact. What's going to give them the best chance to be successful. To not be looked at like they're crazy when they're yelling at somebody because they turn in front of them. Which we all do as adults. I consider myself somewhat well-adjusted, and I still do that sometimes. It's all about the positive, healthy relationships. Healthy being that key word. Because we know what unhealthy relationships look like. And helping our youth determine what is healthy and not healthy for them. For them, not for other people they're involved with. So, if you're like me, I've only lived a life where I take risks. I'm a big believer in just jumping and figuring it out on the way out. It typically works, believe it or not, it does. But most of our kids, they're browbeaten in school to never want to take chances. It's memorize this, memorize this, memorize this, memorize this, you get the test, okay, good. Now memorize this, memorize this, memorize this. We need to teach our kids to take risks and take chances. Because if they're not taking these risks, they're not growing. And that's what this is about for me. For us, for what we're trying to do. We have to get them to be able to believe that they can accomplish anything. I don't know if it's pure coincidence or not, I listen to a good amount of rap, just from current rap and even stuff going back to the Biggie Tupac days. You know how many times I hear, my teacher never said I would do this, my teacher never said I would do that, now I made more than my teacher makes in a year and a day. Like these conversations, these things are real. Because we're not helping our kids believe they can do whatever they want to do. And I say we bridge that gap between home and school, and we can bridge that gap between home and school here. Help them believe that. Show them that they can do that. And we do that by supporting them however they need. Because some kids are going to need more support than others. Some kids may be there every single day of the week. Some kids may be there once a week. Some kids may show up once and never come back again. Maybe they got what they needed at one time. But it's about creating that opportunity. You ask any of my students, when it comes to innovation, we live in a society where in 10 years almost every job you go to college for is going to be automated. You have machines performing more precise surgeries now than what surgeons do. So we need to teach our kids how to innovate. We need to teach kids how to identify problems in the areas, whether it's in their home, whether it's in their community, it's in their school, it's in their county, their state, wherever. We need to teach them how to identify these problems, how to think creatively, to innovate, to do new things, to be able to find these problems, focus on them, figure out solutions, and then allow that to drive us forward. Because the answer isn't in most of the adults. The answer is almost all of our kids. They know. They just don't know it yet. And that's where we have to help them get to that point. Sign, Pastor? That sign? It's not big. You know what that is? That Spotify plays in my computer because my wife is putting my 5-year-old to bed. That's what that is. And I'm sure it's exception today. It's how we I knew it. So when we talk about innovation, you can't talk about innovation without talking about entrepreneurship. And I think it was mentioned teaching them different skills that they're going to be able to use. When you solve these problems, you now have an additional opportunity to create revenue from that. And that's what this is about. Imagine if we can have our high school kids create middle school kids, creating their own businesses. It's real, it's happening. It's happening all over our country right now. We know it's not going to happen in public schools. At least not yet. We know we're not there. Some of us are. I don't think we're here in this area with that yet. So we want to talk about this entrepreneur mindset. Jerome, you mentioned it. Think about having a recording studio where kids can come and record their own music. Think about having a fabrication lab where kids can come and create. Think about having a kitchen where kids can learn how to cook. Having therapists to be able to come in. Teaching our kids how to use these skills. And then put that out on their own so that they can find ways to invest in themselves and then be able to potentially make profit off of that. Because there's no reason why we can't do that here in Millville. We can't be an example for that. We absolutely can. But we have to develop that mindset. I have a kid in Canada right now who's researching how to start her own nonprofit so she could buy a plot of land in the city and put tiny houses there for houseless people. So that she can then turn around and create a business that is geared towards landscaping and housework and work and maintenance around the house. Teach them those skills, have them do that labor, and then be able to help them get back on their feet. She just turned 16 the other day. But that is the entrepreneurship mindset that we need to be able to teach our kids. That is how you innovate. She's seen an empty lot across from her house day after day after day after day, never being used. There's your problem. How do you find a solution? And this is what we want to do. Because like I said, it's not everybody thinks about a youth center and it's simply preface everything around it's athletics or homework help. But it's more than that. when we think about this, it's more of a school, but not a school, where there's no set spot you have to be. But if you want to come, we'll have a list of classes. You can come check this out, come do this, come do that. That's what this is about. That's what our area needs. It's not just something to do, but it's something to do for their own life and develop them. And yeah, it's crazy. We've been in a room full of like 30, 40 people maybe. And we're having a conversation now about starting something that if you look at every perspective, it's huge. That is an enormous undertaking, something that's not going to happen overnight. But it's going to take people who are invested in our community to make this happen. There's so many empty and vacant buildings around in this town. There's one sitting there right now, 700 Columbia, that we've looked at, that we've toured. A building that is for sale, that nobody can reach the owner who's trying to sell it. The phone is no longer accepting calls. A building that was bought for $600K in October 2017, and now they want $1.2 million for an even further dilapidated building with no renovations at all. And after I talked with this individual the first time, I'm no longer taking phone calls, and that's the only number that's listed there. That is a perfect space for doing something like this and getting our community involved. There are plenty of those spaces around Millville. But if we're going to do something like this, and if you're here, you're probably here for a reason, because you believe something like this is possible. We have to actually work to do this. There are enough people in this town who want to see positive change. We can absolutely make that work. I'm all in. My family is all in. Everybody here is in. But how in can you be? How much can you do? How much can you spread the word? There's something for everybody to do. You may think you don't have those skills. You may think, oh, well, I'm still in high school, right? I just graduated high school. I don't know what I'm doing. There is absolutely something that we can do. So my challenge to you, before I turn over the room over to answer questions or anything like that, is how can you get involved to make something like this a reality? Is this something that you believe in? If you do believe in it, join us, please. Because this is something that if we can do here in Millville, we can show that it can work in other places and can have a significant impact on youth everywhere. So with that being said, I want to open up the floor to any questions, any thoughts, anything. Nobody's going to ask me where we get money from.
How to get started. Let's do it.
Okay. So in case anybody's wondering, go ahead.
So when do you want this recreation center open live again?
Probably tomorrow. Honestly, I feel I've had a couple different people who approach me about a couple different things. And the conversation typically goes back and forth between how big do we want it to be at the end versus how big can we make it at the beginning. And are we willing to start small, see here, try building it up, and then moving somewhere else? And to me, those are the questions that honestly, I don't have an answer for. I'll be 100% honest though, I would love this to be done before school starts in 2019. I mean, that's money, I got you. That's an ambitious goal for me, but I am actively looking to quit my job as a high school administrator to be able to focus on this full time. Because this is where I am right now. This is where my heart is, this is where my being is. So that is what I want to do. I'm just trying to figure out a way to convince my wife to allow me to quit. And we'll really be able to pay the bills if I do that. So the money aspect, most nonprofits the mission is great. The money is not. And that's where the side hustle comes in. So you gotta have a business aspect for this. And I'm already talking, I'm a national education writer. I've done a lot of different things, and I have a lot of connections to educators around the country. So the business side of this is for us to go into schools and do professional development sessions for staff, do full day programs on social emotional learning, do these things. I know people personally who make $10,000 to go sit at school for 4 hours. For 4 hours, like that's real. And that goes right in their pocket. There's no reason why we can, and most of those people, they're educators, you know, someone's gonna come and talk at you for how long, and they're like, what was that? You said what? I knew that already. So we want to do stuff that is different. Charge less. Everything you do, all the profits and the proceeds are going to rebuilding our communities. And that pitch I've already gotten a lot of positive feedback on. So after this meeting today, we start to organize this with this aspect, the business side is starting. I mean, literally tomorrow. When we go out and I start creating the paperwork and things that I want to be able to give out to districts. I've already had Millville express interest in us doing a full day program at the middle school. So those are the type of things that we want to be able to do, build our reputation up to bring that money in. Because if we start doing that, we can absolutely raise money. And then, you know, rich people and corporations.
Is state and government funding a possibility?
If we can get it, absolutely. If we can get it, absolutely. But, you know, the grant writing process, all those things as well. But for some reason, nobody wants to give you grants until you have, you know, stuff already going. It's like the whole chicken egg thing. But we can find a way to make that work. Yes, ma'am.
If you don't just focus on recreation and you focus on counseling, mental health, and trauma-informed care, like meeting the whole child's needs, you might want to explore a patron that, such as Inspira, or someone who's interested in that model, because that's a big thing with children and keeping them out of the justice system and keeping them in school and having good outcomes. And evidence-based is everything when you're looking for funding source.
Absolutely, and I've actually spoke with one of the Inspira Foundation people yesterday, and we're going to be continuing to have that conversation as well, because that is trying to partner with people to help bring those resources in is really important and makes our jobs a lot easier. Thank you.
I also would suggest that you, because some of the things it's very interesting because you're talking about the whole child, and there are a lot of existing resources in the community, so you can leverage your funds by collaborating with other organizations that already do this, but sometimes struggle to find the kids to do it with. So if you have a base where the kids will be there, you are going to find that there are organizations out there that are already doing some of the stuff that you have in mind that you can partner with, and then you're preserving your resources and also helping them out.
Absolutely. Thank you. Anybody else? All right, cool. So I have everybody's email addresses. I promise you I'm not going to spam you with a bunch of stuff. I am going to put you on our mailing list though. I mean, if that's okay. So when we start putting updates out there, start putting things out there, you will know. We'll be able to keep you in the loop. You reply to the email, somebody will get that, and we will absolutely respond back. And just so you know, when you get an email, it's from the email list. It's obvious it's from a list. Everybody's getting the same email, but you can still reply to just the sender, and then it'll come back to us, and then we can talk about different things. So, I mean, if that's it, all I got to say is from the bottom of my heart is thank you for coming out here on a Tuesday night in December to be a part of this. And this is the start. Our next plan is to meet again after the holidays in January and to start splitting up into different work groups and figuring out what we can do in different areas and be able to start making that happen. So definitely be on the lookout for that, and we will talk more. So thank you so much for coming out. Be safe, everybody.